everyone, it's Sevi. The Phase 1 banners for 3.1 were just announced, so let's go over them and also check out the new weapons that were announced the day before. So the featured 5 stars are, of course, Cyno and Venti. Cyno Wanders, your thirst will be quenched after waiting for 2 years. He's been a long time coming and a lot of players are excited for his release. Now, my review and guides will be coming out on him as he drops, so stay tuned for that. But they've already talked about some of his talents over on the Genshin official page. Venti, on the other hand, has been around since the start of the game, and there's already been a lot of discussion about Venti's status since his last rerun. He's an insane crowd controller who can dish out a lot of damage too, but basically he's one of those characters that is insanely good against what you call Ventiable enemies, or mobs, hordes of enemies. And at worst, if it's not those types of enemies, he's still okay against them as long as you can practice good positioning. So if you're a new player, Venti has like a lot of potential to carry you up from Mondstadt to Sumeru, and there's been patches which nerfed enemies like the samurais or specters to make them more pullable by Venti. And he still finds new relevance with Dendro teams, so if you really like him, I think he's still worth it. He still has good value in the game even at this point. Now let's talk about the 4 stars. Candace is going to be our first 4-star Hydro character in a while, and Genshin actually announced more info about her talents just now on their social media, but as she's coming out in just a couple of days, I'll be able to give you guys some testing and guides about her as soon as possible too, and you can wait for those. But from what we can see in her official descriptions, she has a combination of Hydro application, Hydro infusion, counter-attacking, team buffing, and so on. So it's this amalgamation of different abilities that will have to find a place for her to see where she can do okay or shine the most. But if you're pulling on this character and you do want her, I hope you get at least 1 copy. Moving on to Shinobu. Kuki's value has undoubtedly increased with the arrival of Dendro because of her Hyper Bloom synergy. If you don't have her yet, then getting at least 1 copy of her at least adds to your team possibilities of using one of the best Hyper Bloom triggers. And as one of 2 existing dedicated Electro healers, she does deliver that convenience of role consolidation in Electro reaction teams. So if you do get a copy of her, I think at this point she is a good pull. The last 4-star on this banner is Sayu. And because of the character slots needed to create Dendro teams, Sayu as a budget Gene, aka budget Animo, VV Swirler, and healer has that role consolidation going for her. For example, in an aggravate team that needs a flex unit to help you survive and you don't have those other options like Jean or Zhongli or even a Sucrose to put Prototype Amber on, then Sayu is still a decent choice. Now let's move on to the weapon banners, where the featured 5 stars are the Staff of Scarlet Sands and Elegy for the end. Starting with the Staff of Scarlet Sands, this is obviously meant to be Cyno's signature weapon with a hefty crit rate substat. You'll notice that it has a relatively low base attack but converts EM into some added flat attack. Cyno's playstyles really want EM, so this weapon will have maximum synergy for him. It's basically his best in slot. Anyway, only roll for this weapon if you want the best of the best for Cyno, because he will have more budget-friendly options than this. Elegy for the end, on the other hand, is still a good weapon to lose to, even if you're rolling for the Staff of Scarlet Sands. Elegy is the premium 5-star support bow that can be used by plenty of bow characters, not just Venti. Since it buffs both attack and EM, it's a support weapon that can be used in lots of reaction teams. Again though, it's not a must-pull for Venti, as he can work extremely well on some 4-star bows too. The other 4-star weapons on this banner include the Favonius Bow and Favonius Lance. You know that I'm a huge fan of the Favonius series, and these 2 are pretty good. I mean, picking up copies of them is always a good thing in my opinion. These are both great default support weapons that provide energy particles for your team. There's the Lion's Roar, and if you've been enjoying Kuching Aggravate and have been stuck with F2P weapons, then the Lion's Roar is an upgrade. Then there's the Sac Frag, which is your go-to weapon for Sucrose, who works really well in new Dendro teams. The EM stat of Sac Frag also has some niche use now in some Bloom-related teams, if you're into those. Now, there is a new weapon on this banner, and it is limited to the banner. It says it's not going to be on the standard banner, but it's called the Makhaira Aquamarine. It's an interesting new weapon with a support function of buffing teammates' attack stat with a portion of the holder's EM stat. However, since it's a flat addition of attack, that buff won't be significant unless the weapon holder is deliberately stacking EM in the first place. As of now, the character I can think of who will be able to make the best use of this is Sayu. Better if she's C6 since that's when EM greatly benefits her healing. At least it gives her an attack buffing utility. The only caveat is that her high energy cost, rather her high energy needs, will need to be fulfilled solely by artifacts. Some other possibilities, but not necessarily the best recommendations. The weapon can also work on like a Melt Chongyun or Vape Diluc builds. Maybe it's kind of doable for a full EM Razor if you play that abomination, but the weapon is basically Rain Slasher, but instead of an effect that increases the user's personal damage, the Aquamarines is a bit more supportive. Maybe we'll see a future character that can make better use of this weapon. Lastly, let's talk about the Missive Windspear, which is meant to be the free event weapon for this patch. This event weapon, these are the stats at R1, and we'll be able to refine it to R5 for free, though you are going to feel its free-to-play power level in relation to other existing craftable or gacha 4-star weapons, so it's mostly a placeholder weapon until you get an upgrade. That being said, it seems like a good basic pole arm for reaction DPSs, like Xiangling, a reverse melt Rosaria, and if you don't have any viable weapons yet for Cyno at this point and you're planning to get him, then you can at least get this weapon completely for free and use it until you get a more powerful polearm for him. So that's going to be all on my thoughts and review on these Phase 1 banners and the new weapon details that were announced. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know as well who you're pulling for if you're pulling for anyone this patch, and I wish you lots of luck. That being said, watch out for my guides on Cyno and Candace coming out in the future. I'll try to get them out as soon as possible, and those will have more concrete and tested info on the characters. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon. Take care! The last 4-star on this banner is Sayu, and because of the